This is the Troll Patrol. Live with Justin Freakin.
God damn, it's too early for this shit. Why are we doing this? Another useless fucking vote where Jim Jordan is going to lose. He's going to lose more support than he had the other day. They are just coming into session on the House floor. Smokey's got the zoomies. Let's get to this shit.
By electronic device.
So this is gonna be a quorum call here, as we usually do. Hold on, let's I think I'm on Washington Post right now. Let's take C-SPAN because we'll get callers. We want the callers on C-SPAN.
First recognition for that purpose. Without objection, to call the House is ordered. Members will record their presence by electronic device.
I apologize, Scott Comet. I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm grumpy. But this is just pointless. He's expected to lose at least 2 votes in this round. Absolutely pointless. But here we are doing it anyway. I literally just woke up. My alarm was set for 9:50. Coffee is in the French press, steeping at this moment. Everyone knows what's going on here. We got another quorum vote. It's probably going to take about 30 minutes. As per usual. As C-SPAN has usually been cutting away and taking calls, you see Jerry Nadler waddling through the house there in the center of your screen.
And here in the House, after this quorum call vote, members expected to proceed to a third ballot for the election of the Speaker of the House. Ohio Representative Jim Jordan in the running for that speakership after failing twice to secure the position. We heard from him in a briefing earlier this morning. You can find that at cspan.org if you missed it. Congressman Jordan saying,
I've got work to do, but here we go with
win the race,
doing this shit.
working to try to
Also, good morning, Meat Case. Good morning, Sky Comet.
Previous tallies. Jake Sherman from Punchbowl News writing on X that a source describes the meeting held by Congress
X gonna give it to you
holdouts as a direct, precise meeting in which Jordan was told he will never be speaker. This group, the source said, they want Jordan to understand he will not be speaker.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Hold on one second, I gotta pull something up here. I don't know if it's gonna pop up on the, okay. My apologies, I did not have a meme ready. I didn't have much of anything ready. I'm not ready. Need to go get my coffee fixed up. You guys having coffee this morning? How do you start your mornings? Some people like a nice hot tea. I'm definitely a coffee guy. Coffee at 5, Monster at 7. I used to do the energy drinks back when I first started doing news. The jock that ran the morning show would always send me to the gas station and Hardee's. Have me pick up energy drinks, get us cappuccinos from the gas station, and then go to Hardee's and get us loaded omelet biscuits. Like a morning routine. Doesn't look like there's a full house today. It was looking really yucky outside just a few minutes ago, but now the sun's coming out. Apparently it is yucky where Sky Comet is. Yerba. I was always get what was it, Amped? It was the Mountain Dew energy drink. That was the only one whose flavor I could really stand. Most of them taste like piss. Sorry to anyone who enjoys an energy drink. Oh yeah, speaking of energy drink, allow me to go make up a cup of my energy drink. I was expecting C-SPAN to head to calls, but I'm gonna have to do coffee. I gotta get the coffee fixed up. First sip of the morning. Oh God, it's so good. Once again, this is meaningless. Jim Jordan is going to lose again. He is going to lose votes from last time. Yes, and this is Mocha. Cafe Mocha. Flavored coffee. Oh, God. Oh, my God. It's so good.
And voting underway here in the House. A quorum call vote for all members to come to the floor as they continue efforts to elect a new speaker. After this, members expected to proceed to the third ballot for the election of the Speaker of the House. Ohio Representative Jim Jordan in the running for the speakership after failing twice before to secure the position. Already this morning, Indiana Republican Victoria Spartz telling CNN she'll support Mr. Jordan one more time, but after that, probably the last time. We plan on taking your calls and comments after the vote for Speaker here on C-SPAN.
They took calls during the quorum vote the other day. Kept us entertained. Drip coffee. I'm a fan of the French press myself. That's right. That's how this was concocted. Sparkles had one of those fancy George Clooney Nespresso, like $500 fucking machines. My God, it made a good cup of coffee. I don't know if it was worth the $500 or whatever one of those fucks had, or whatever one of those fucks cost. But it was a damn good cup of coffee. I'll admit that. Oh, God damn, that's so good. I don't even have creamer. I need to order groceries. Probably what I'm going to do right after I get off the stream with you guys. We'll order groceries, get some... I don't even have sugar. It was like the last of the sugar in my bag. I shake it out to put it in this cup of coffee. I love a good Danish. Ooh, do let us know how it goes, Meat Cakes. I actually live not far from a coffee place. Seems like a real hipster kind of place, so like I should really go over and check it out. I'm just lazy. Not like we're walking across the road. I lied. I probably won't order groceries after I get off here. I'll probably go back to sleep. But good morning to everyone. Welcome in for this pointless vote. Jim Jordan is not going to win. I assure you of that. I said it last night. I declared it on stream. I was pretty confident. Jim Jordan is never going to be Speaker of the House. Resonate, good morning. I do DoorDash. Do. I mean, I Instacart. I've got an Instacart membership. I love a good hipster coffee place. Hipsters make the best coffee. And I'm a bit of a coffee snob. I mean, I thought that he could perhaps be able to wrangle enough votes eventually to be speaker, but like, this has exposed how hated Jim Jordan is in the caucus. Indeed, fuck DoorDash. It is a shitty company. But if you do use it, be sure to tip your driver well. Can I comment? Like, I'm not a vegan. But not last time I was in Asheville, but one of the last times I was in Asheville, a friend of mine took me to this vegan place, and it was amazing. I guess it was a vegetarian place because they had vegan options, but I had like a mac and cheese, like a fried tofu. I think she had some mashed potatoes that were really good. So if you were doing like vegan vegetarian fare, like, you really got to know how to cook it, right? A lot of people don't really know how to cook vegetables. Vegetables are amazing if you know what you're doing with them. Too many people just want to like steam some broccoli and leave it at that. I'm gonna have to start fixing my hair again. I was video chatting with Battle Opossum last night. He's like, "Oh God, you're getting all bushy." Yeah, Peach Fuzz Fall is over. Fall boy summer into Peach Fuzz Fall.
Nearing its end here in the House, a quorum call vote for all members to come to the floor as they continue efforts to elect a new speaker. After this, members expected to proceed to the third ballot for the election of the Speaker of the House.
No, I'm growing it back out.
Now, among Democrats, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries held a press conference earlier. You can watch that online at cspan.org, and we'll be taking your calls and comments after the vote.
That's actually a pretty good idea, C-SPAN. Jim Jordan gave a news conference this morning. Let me get on the ball here. Donald Trump, if he was in court again, probably gave some spastic comments this morning. Yeah, let's do that. Let's hear from Jim Jordan here. Oh, wait a minute. They might be taking calls. Damn it, C-SPAN.
For a third round of voting in this speaker election race. We want to get your thoughts on this next step here in the House of Representatives, the possibility of Jim Jordan being speaker if he can get the votes, although the reports are that he is likely to lose more votes than he already has in this next round of voting. So the phone numbers: Republicans 202-748-8921, Democrats 202-748-8920, and all others 202-748-8922. We'll get to your calls in a minute here. Michael Schnell is joining us, a congressional
What's up, Michael?
with the Hill newspaper. Michael Schnell, why are they taking this quorum call right now, and what do you expect the number will be of those present for a possible third vote?
Yes, so this has been the course of action for the previous two speaker votes as well. The quorum call is really important when you're talking about a speaker election, because we need to see how many members of Congress are actually in the chamber today, because that will determine how many votes Jim Jordan needs, or rather any speaker candidate needs, to clinch the nomination on the House floor. Of course, you need a majority of the chamber or a majority of the members present to win the gavel. Typically speaking, that's 218 votes. but there are currently 2 vacancies right now. That brings the magic number, so to speak, down to 217. As of right now, we know of one sure Republican absent, Congressman Derek Van Orden, a Republican from Wisconsin. He's currently on a fact-finding mission in Israel, so he will not be present for
A
today's
fact-finding mission.
The only absence that's not expected to bring down that magic number, but it'll mean
Maybe he can tell us who actually bombed that hospital in Gaza.
rather than 4 Republican votes and still clinch the gavel. Of course,
Spoiler alert, it was Israel.
lawmakers, Republican lawmakers, have said that they do not plan to vote for Jim Jordan and haven't voted for him in the past. So this is likely not to be a successful vote for him. But that gets back to the quorum call and why this is a really important step in this entire speaker landscape.
So what is the number expected of opponents today? Will it be more than we have seen?
I'm assuming he gets 24 votes against him.
That's what a lot of Jordan opponents are predicting. I spoke to Congressman Don Bacon yesterday, Republican from Nebraska. He
Bacon.
voted for Kevin McCarthy on the first 2 ballots. He said he expects
We'll never see him again.
defectors, Jordan holdouts, to increase by 10. So on Tuesday, there were 20 Republicans who withheld support from Jim Jordan.
Increased by 10.
Candidates. On Tuesday, that number swelled to 22. So if Don Bacon's prediction is correct, we could be well into the 30s at this point, which obviously is not a good sign for Jim Jordan and his quest for the gavel.
Politically, good morning.
If that is the case.
Well, look, Jim Jordan held a brief press conference in the Capitol this morning, giving no indications that he plans to drop out.
DJ Dub, good morning.
He essentially suggested that he's willing to work through the weekend and continue voting on his speakership bid until there is...
I don't want to do this over the weekend.
The expectation is that if this vote does not work out for Jim Jordan, which, as I laid out before, is the likely outcome, he's likely to go back to the floor, bring his nomination for a 4th vote, risking again the number of opponents increasing. But to him, he thinks that, continuing to bring it to the floor, putting pressure on those holdouts as the government funding deadline looms, as there's a war in the Middle East that's intensifying. He's essentially, one would think that he's betting on the idea that some of these holdouts will potentially fatigue, or as time goes on, they'll be more open to negotiating, having conversations.
I'm fatigued already.
This morning, no indication that he plans to step down anytime soon.
There is
Venus, good morning.
Inside the chamber as this quorum call is taking place by your colleagues on Capitol Hill that there are lawmakers in the chamber who have some casual...
Yeah, I was going to play a section of Jim Jordan's press conference. Then I saw C-SPAN was going to take calls.
Try to speculate Congress's dress code, what they're wearing today. It is Friday. Sometimes it's a more casual Friday up here on Capitol Hill. I will note it has been a very long few weeks for Congress. If my count is correct, this is the 3rd week that the House has actually been in the building in a row. I'm sorry, the 6th week that the House has been in the building in a row. They were supposed to be in session for 3 weeks, then take 2 weeks off and have district work period, and then be back this week. But of course, with this speakership drama, lawmakers have been in the building that entire time. So look, if they're trying to sneak in...
Nix, good morning. He's going to lose. He's apparently going to lose by like 10 more votes.
This stalemate drags on.
What happened yesterday after that 3rd vote? This 3rd vote was canceled. Did Jim Jordan meet behind closed doors with these opponents?
Did Kevin McCarthy fight with Matt Gaetz?
Jordan after so initially the way yesterday was supposed to go was a conference meeting in the morning, a House Republican conference meeting behind closed doors, followed by that 3rd vote. But of course, as you mentioned right there, plans for the 3rd vote were spiked. And instead, House Republicans had a nearly 4-hour conference meeting, which even by standards up here on Capitol Hill is a pretty long time to have members behind closed doors and talking. After that closed door meeting, Jordan then went to a different meeting with a handful of those holdouts, those lawmakers who have withheld support for him and
he left out the juicy parts.
Planned to flip. That lasted about 2 hours, and afterwards, those Jordan holdouts left the room saying essentially that they were unchanged.
Kevin McCarthy apparently lunged at Matt Gaetz. Oh, no, not McCarthy.
Jim Jordan, that he has no path to the gavel at this point. Rutherford said that is correct. So,
the McCarthy supporter.
Holdouts were unmoved. It appears that they are dug in and will continue in that stance. But as I mentioned,
Congressman Boast,
he plans to give up anytime soon and is going to continue through this battle.
You can follow Michael Schnell.
Representative Mike Boast lunged at him.
Schnell, we appreciate your time. We know you're busy up there. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's go to your calls and get your reaction to what you just learned there from Michael Schnell. Daniel in Canton, Ohio, Republican. Your turn, Daniel.
I see a lot of Republicans in wolves.
Rhinos.
What do you call it? Disguised as wolf.
Okay.
A lot of Republicans I'm starting to see is
Wolf's clothing.
real Democrats. They're really for real.
Wolf in sheep's
I'm
clothing.
from the state of Ohio. We don't, that just says that Jim Jordan represents us. We're not no bull crap.
So you're rooting.
I've been to Ohio.
I'm from Ohio. I just said that.
Okay, well, that doesn't necessarily mean be rooting for him, but you are.
He represents the state of Ohio.
All right.
He represents a district in the state of Ohio.
Florida.
You dipshit.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am for Jim Jordan. These few Republicans that are holding out for whatever their reasons, I just pray to God Almighty that He would touch their hearts, and when they
Jesus
on this vote today, that the name Jim Jordan would come out their mouths in Jesus' name, and that the Republicans would stand together. Like I said, the only thing they can learn from the Democrats is they at least stand together. These Republicans need to come together today and confirm Jim Jordan.
Yes, Snicks. It was doing it to me last night.
Name. Amen.
All right, Deanne, and you will find out how each lawmaker votes because the clerk.
If Jesus was real, he would have just came back and slapped the shit out of your mouth, ma'am.
Give the name, the surname of who they want to be speaker today. So you'll hear Democrats, as they have all along, say the name Jeffries.
Alexandra.
What
Good morning.
plus Republicans do when it's their turn to nominate from their party a Speaker of the House. Brian in Princeton, Indiana, independent. Hi, Brian.
Hi. Yeah, I'm for Jim Jordan. These holdouts need to just end their stupidity. All they're doing is exactly like they did with McCarthy, making the Republican Party look like a bunch of idiots.
They are!
Has no business even being nominated for Speaker, and
Venus is really just getting started.
Speaker of the House.
All right, Brian, following up on
As a
the
conservative, it's
previous
getting harder and
caller
harder to not
the
look
party,
like a cook.
calling on the party to be united. YouGov did a poll recently, and this is what they found out. When they surveyed all U.S. adults, they found 51% say it's the Democrats who
idiots
are united as a party.
Oh, my bad.
16% said
I jumped the gun there.
when you ask Democrats, that number increased to 79%. 40% of independents said Democrats. Look at the number for Republicans. Of those surveyed who are Republican voters, they said 33% said their party is united, while 40% said
33 and 2/3% chance.
South Carolina Republican. Hello, Myrtle.
Minus my 25%
Hey, how you doing? Good morning. Yes, my comment is I wish these that's holding out too much will come on and vote for Jim Jordan. The guy that's voting for Kevin McCarthy, which you don't want to get back in, should go ahead with Jim Jordan. I seen this same stuff go on when they voted for Kevin, that the little Matt Gaetz was one of the main problems at the end of it, and I see that he was the one that started this about getting
the little Matt Gaetz.
Out. They're going to keep on till they get another Democrat in there. It's going to be just the same way with Pelosi, which would be a bad thing. But please, I pray that these Republicans just come on and open up and vote for Jim.
All right.
Thank you.
The quorum.
Just let it happen. That's what Jim said to the wrestlers at Ohio State University.
Next round of voting for Speaker is out of time.
Just let it happen.
See, under the NV not voting column, there are 9 lawmakers. So they will likely keep this open until they get those 9 in the chamber and marked as present, and then they will move on to nomination speeches, as you've heard before. After that, it will be the roll call vote for Speaker of the House. Tom in Hanover, Illinois, Democratic caller. Hi, Tom.
Tom, have some sense.
Hi. So, honestly, the Republicans that are holding out against Jordan have very good reasons. Threatening their families and pressure campaigns. That's not how politics is supposed to work. That's how gangsters work. Our politicians are supposed to be better than that. If there were real problem solvers in the Republican Party, 6 of them would go over, vote for Jeffries, and get the House back open.
Deborah, an independent. Hi, Deborah.
Good afternoon. Good morning. I think that Jim Jordan is a clear and present danger to this country. I would like to see him replaced by, say, a Romney. Someone is a true Republican who believes in the Republican standpoint and the Republican values.
We got an MSNBC watcher.
He has no values, and he is a liar, and he is a election denier.
You're right about that.
Also, I think that he is a MAGA, which we do not need anymore. We've had enough of
for Pedro
for the last 6 years. We need to get down to the business of the country, and I'm afraid that he's going to do something to Social Security and to Medicare, and there's a lot of people in this country who live on those two things. Thank you very much for taking my call.
All right, Deborah. Bradley, Elkton, Virginia.
Where is Warlord?
Hi, Bradley.
He loves this shit.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
It's like noon in Britain.
Television, all right?
No, it's like 2.
I got it muted. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Go ahead.
All right, I think that Jim Jordan would be a good Speaker of the House. But if this fails this time, I think what they need to do is go back and select another one. And I believe that Representative Ben Klein from Virginia would be a good one. He's worked both sides with very well.
Also, be aware that I wouldn't doubt that Jim Jordan is putting people up to calling into C-SPAN.
Speaker of the House, YouGov, asked that question in their recent poll. By 51% to 5%, Americans are more likely to say that the lack of a House Speaker is hurting rather than helping the U.S. government's ability to do its work.
Well, it's Friday afternoon in Britain, so can't hold that against the Warlord that he's not here with us watching this fuckery.
17 days without a Speaker of the House. Jim Jordan and the MAGA Republicans are bringing down the U.S. government from the House of Representatives. We cannot allow Jim Jordan the power of the purse. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Don't let them touch our Social Security checks.
Pamela, a Democratic caller there in Florida. Ray, also Democrat in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hi, Ray.
Ray.
Good morning.
Raymond.
Honestly believe that our country will be ran a lot better if there was a woman running our country. For the history of our country, the president has...
He ain't wrong about that.
It's time for a woman to take charge of our country and stop all this bickering that's going on right now.
And who would that be, Ray?
We have vilified so many smart women. Hillary Clinton, Carly Fiorina on both sides. Also, Nancy Pelosi, our current vice president.
Those are the women you put forward.
The biggest argument they make about her is the way she laughs. Come on, let's get serious in our country. There are plenty of women, smart women on both sides of it.
Yeah, but you didn't name any of them.
Job of running this country.
Tampa, Florida. Steve, Republican. Steve, who do you want to be Speaker of the House?
I'd like Jim Jordan to be Speaker, but I'd also back Steve Scalise. My perspective comes from a disappointment in the abridgment of rights by the Biden administration and the deficits that we're running. I know leftists are not concerned with the deficits because I spoke to my son who's a leftist.
No, I'm all about cutting the deficit. Raise taxes, bitch.
That are going to change America, and the war in Ukraine and how we send money abroad, and also for migrants. We need to help Americans, and the young people can't afford to buy homes. Young people can't afford to have children. And so I am very concerned about that. And I think we need somebody to be a stop to the Biden administration.
Steve,
probably unaware that the Biden administration has cut the deficit.
Kevin McCarthy as Speaker?
Absolutely. The Inflation Reduction Act was made possible by McConnell and McCarthy, and even Democrats have admitted it doesn't reduce inflation, it's increasing it.
No. What?
Paying for food and gas is becoming impossible.
All right, Steve, we are more than 2 weeks from that day when 8 Republicans...
Inflation is like at 2.5% right now.
...from the speakership. Today, on this Friday morning, we are watching as there is a...
The Inflation Reduction Act is actually predicted to cut inflation, to cut the deficit.
8 members,
it has not gone into effect yet.
Democrats to make their way to the chamber and mark themselves...
Like the projects that it funded are doing groundbreaking like now.
...for the nomination of Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan pushing forward today with that third vote. He also told reporters and members that he would work through the weekend and keep going with more votes to see if he can gain ground here. According to reports on Capitol Hill, however...
If you're just joining us, he is expected to lose votes.
We heard from Michael Schnell that it was 20 on Tuesday this week, 22 on Wednesday, and today there are reports that it could be 30 plus of his GOP colleagues who vote in opposition to him as Speaker. Jimmy in Buffalo, Independent.
Jimmy!
Hey, good morning. I just want to say that as an independent who has voted for who I thought was the best candidate, whether they were Republican or Democratic, I find it very interesting that the Republican Party, especially Kevin McCarthy, is trying to blame Democrats for this fiasco, when he himself said he would not reach out across the aisle because he wanted to be a red speaker. This is and I also think it's fair to say that we are constantly lumping Republicans into the MAGA wagon when they're really not. There are Republicans that are moderate, as there are...
You had me in the first half, not going to lie.
There are mega people that are part of the cult, the 8 that disposed McCarthy for whatever reason. He did it to himself by agreeing to the one vote for one person to be able to bring it to the floor. We need to stop vilifying true Republicans. Push the blame where it belongs. It starts with Donald Trump and works its way down. Thank you.
All right. YouGov did another poll on whether or not it was a good idea to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, and they found by 43 to 36%, Republicans now disapprove of the removal of Kevin McCarthy. That was at 33 to 32% around early October, and they saw that number increase for Republicans, 43 to 37, 36% early October, and it has grown that more Republicans disapprove of his removal. Mary in
trying to get you Maynard, but he's being skittish.
Hi, I'm glad to see Jim Jordan losing. He does not ever need to be Speaker of the House.
He is a loser.
Election denier in that position. It's time for the moderate Republicans to work with the Democrats on a power-sharing agreement and get our government back in business.
They are not going to do that.
Now, this is just a quorum call. This is not the vote. As you can see, they are just finding out who's present right now. And there are 2 Republicans missing.
Venus coming on over to the kick.
Missing. It doesn't look like they're in a hurry to bring this quorum to a close because they want everyone that is in Washington, all the lawmakers in Washington, in the chamber.
Yeah, there are plenty of moderate Republicans. They're all in the Democratic Party.
We've learned earlier from Michael Schnell, and you've probably heard the reporting as well, that there are 2 vacancies in the House. So the total number of lawmakers in the House of Representatives is 433, but today it'll be 430.
I think they're mad at me. I haven't given them breakfast yet. All the cats are pissed.
A Jordan supporter will not be here in Washington. He is in Israel for a fact-finding trip. Leisha in Derry, New Hampshire, Republican. Hi there.
Hi. I am a Jim Jordan supporter. And I'm hearing a lot from Democrats thinking that we are divided. What the Republicans are in the process of doing are cleaning out the rhinos. They're exposing themselves, and those who are putting their personal differences.
They don't like the catnip treats.
What the people want, and the people are being very clear that we want Jim Jordan.
They like catnip, but they don't like it in the treat form.
On the internet, through social media, that a lot
Libertad, good morning.
Republicans are thinking of changing and creating the new party. We are not mad.
Yes, maybe if we all open our windows and scream out, "I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore."
Alicia, how
we'll get somewhere.
It's Americans who want Jim Jordan to be speaker, or, Republican voters, that they want Jim Jordan to be speaker.
Maynard is really picky.
I do extensive, in-depth studying on the internet. I do it, and I try to get a lot of information.
That's your problem.
And simplify the complicated issues. I read comments. I do my own data analysis, and I do it as a hobby.
That's why you're an idiot.
Seeing a trend, and the trend is in the favor of conservative Republicans.
We're stupid? You think we're
because
fools?
People are going back to being conservative because...
All right.
On this roll call,
good, cut her off.
27 members have recorded their presence. The question now recurs on the election of a speaker. If the tellers will please come forward. House will come to order. Nominations are now in order. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. McCarthy.
Mr. Speaker, I
look at this loser.
Nominate Jim Jordan for the Speaker of the House. Now, I've listened to the speeches this week, and I can already tell you what my friends on the other side will say using their poll-tested phrases. But let me correct the record. Jim Jordan is an effective legislator.
Authored 4 pieces of legislation in 16 years. None of them passed.
To legislate is about more than the name on the bill. It's about reaching compromise and working long hours behind the scenes to get the job done.
Yes, laugh at this asshole.
The House will come to order. Gentleman may resume.
When you are the chairman of a committee, you are responsible for dozens of bills passing the House and being signed into law. So let me tell you a few facts that don't come out of the polls. As the leader of the Judiciary Committee, Jim has passed more bills through the House in just 3 years than the entire Democrat leadership team that has their collective 28 years in Congress.
None of them are a law now.
Mr. Aguilar has a whopping one whole bill signed into law. A post office in San Bernardino.
Well, that's more than Jim Jordan has.
I guess that's good enough to be caucus chair.
Wow.
Jim Jordan, on the other hand, has a hand in drafting bills like the REINS Act to curb unaccountable bureaucrats. He helped negotiate and pass H.R. 2, the strongest border security bill this House has ever passed.
Anything's possible when you lie.
And many of you know because you were in the room watching Jim find compromise. Watching Jim listen to your positions and finding a bill that can pass. And let's put this in reality. We've had large majorities, but we never could pass a border security bill. That takes leadership. Now they're going to get upset by it. Why? Because every single Democrat voted against securing our border. Democrats are attacking Jim because they don't want the American people to remember that they voted against securing and keeping a wide open border. They may not want the American public to know the number of people we catch on the terrorist watch list.
Libertad, that's a good point.
Holds in the security for our nation based upon their policies. Name me one bill Democrats passed that would secure our border. I'm waiting. You can't because they haven't. Mr. Speaker, the truth is, if we measure lawmakers by how many bills have their name on it, we are using the wrong measuring stick. Some of my members I know with the most bills to their name are the most selfish. Jim Jordan, on the other hand, is one of the most selfless members I know. I've known Jim a long time.
So authoring bills and getting them passed, that makes you an ineffective lawmaker.
The freshman members on his committee.
Getting none of the bills you've authored passed makes you an effective lawmaker.
Of your chairman. Here's just a few.
Opposite day in Congress again.
Jim empowers every member of judiciary to pursue what interests them. I quote by another, he lets each of us take the lead on the issues that are important to us, even letting freshmen and junior members take important roles. Another one, he trusts our judgment on how we handle issues.
I bet there were some freshmen and juniors that were sexually abused by the wrestling coach at Ohio State University.
He had me
Jim Jordan let it happen.
Related to my subject matter expertise, and he goes out of his way to highlight member successes. He is straightforward, honest, and reliable. That is who Jim Jordan is, and that's what being a speaker is all about.
It's not a lie if you believe it, exactly.
Now, some of you might not know this, but Jim and I have a long history. We created because we take our job serious.
I hope some of the freshmen at least got a reach around when they were sexually abused by the wrestling coach at Ohio State University.
Ohio, I remember pulling up for breakfast at a Bob Evans in Ohio.
Ooh.
There was Jim having a meeting, listening to constituents. I traveled with him throughout the day, from Rotary to Farm Bureau, to just listening to people that had concerns. And I watched them, the same Jim Jordan I see today. He was a leader, a listener, and a fighter. We were
Bob Evans is trash everywhere.
Congress that same year and became close friends. It was a small class. There was only 13 of us. It was one of the smallest Republican classes.
But I'm a food snob, so.
Over time, We took different routes. Jim actually ran against me for leader in 2018. It was a hard-fought battle. But I never once questioned his skills or commitment to this conference or this country. After the race, I became leader, and we had an opening for the ranking member on House Oversight. Jim didn't even apply for the job. I walked into steering. Didn't tell steering. I walked into the other room, and I picked up the phone, and I called Jim. I said, I know you're not running for the job, but I believe in what Jim Collins says in the book Good to Great.
That makes sense, Libertad.
In the right seats on the bus. And Jim, you and I may have challenged one another, but you were the right person for that seat. And it was right when he took that job. It was right again when I asked Jim to step up and join the Intel Committee when Democrats put politics over people and turned the Intel Committee into an impeachment committee. It was right again when we asked Jim to step up and be the right person to lead Judiciary Committee as chairman. And Jim is the right person to take that seat behind me to be our next Speaker of the House.
Now remember, with this speech, this motherfucker is jockeying to be Speaker of the House again. Remember that.
Mr. Speaker, we have an important job to do. The American people expect us to focus on the most pressing issues. We've watched what the Democrat majority has done and brought us inflation like we haven't seen since the 70s. We've watched what the Democrats have done by opening up our border, bringing fentanyl, killing Americans each and every day. And now we have a war in Israel. This country is too great for small visions. Trust me, being Speaker is not an easy job, especially in this conference. But I've seen Jim spend his entire career fighting for freedom. No matter what, no matter the odds, and I know he is ready for the job.
He's an insurrectionist that tried to insult Donald Trump as a dictator, fighting for freedom. Mitochondria, good morning.
Election to the office of Speaker of the House.
You've missed some C-SPAN calls, but we're just really getting started with the House vote.
Jim Jordan, a representative from the state of Ohio. I yield back.
We're probably going to hear from Pete Aguilar again.
The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 212, it's a New York area code, and it's our call for a speaker of integrity, intelligence, and inclusion. 212 is our call for a speaker who will protect our children.
It's intensity, integrity, and intelligence, ma'am.
212
You fucked it up.
For a speaker who will grow the middle class, lower costs, create good-paying jobs, and make health care affordable. 212 is our
That speech was focused on
who will secure
Kevin McCarthy saying that he's a team player, and that's why they should make him Speaker again.
for everyone.
This is for Jim Jordan, yet again.
The unanimous call of 212
And he is almost certainly going to lose more votes.
Answered by our nominee for Speaker, the gentleman from Brooklyn, the leader of our House Democratic Caucus, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries.
He may be a shit lib, but at least he's our shit lib.
Leader Jeffries.
And he'd be infinitely better than both Nancy Pelosi and anybody that the Republican could put forward.
Disconnected, disconnected from the American people and their values. MAGA extremism is designed to divide, and it has broken the Republican Party. Their nominee's vision is a direct attack on the freedom and the rights of the American people, and he's got the record to prove it. The Republican nominee has voted against health care for children, for veterans, even for 9/11 survivors. He has opposed lowering the cost of insulin repeatedly. He wants to cut Social Security and Medicare. Don't take it from me.
Don't boo her.
On the other side of the aisle just this week
Yep.
as a selling point to make him speaker. Over his 16 years in the House, the Republican nominee has never supported a farm bill. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means he has turned his back on farmers, on rural communities, and the 11 million children who go to bed hungry in this country. The Republican nominee wants a national abortion ban with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the health of a mother.
Yeah, fighting for freedom, isn't he?
We want to make our own healthcare decisions in consultation with our families, our doctors, our faith, not with Jim Jordan.
Don't be swayed by the C-SPAN callers today. I wouldn't doubt that Jim Jordan has put people up to call into C-SPAN.
Traffics in misinformation and is a true
The callers this morning were overwhelmingly in support of Jim Jordan.
and our country.
And I find that odd, and that was not the case any other morning.
I have had the privilege of working here in the People's House for almost 10 years. And I've gotten to know many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. And I know that you hear the same thing that I do. The American people expect us to work together on their behalf.
Thank you to the progressives for not standing up and applauding.
Majority to choose a bipartisan path forward.
You can see Rashida Tlaib over there.
The House.
Did not stand up like, I'm not all about your platitudes.
An answer. Every day.
If babies are hungry, they should get a job.
To engage in a Republican's
Arm the babies.
that is
Let the babies work.
own members instead of engaging with us in the work of the American people is a day that weakens this institution and the standing of our country. We need a speaker who will govern through consensus, not conflict. We need a speaker worthy of wielding that gavel. A leader who will defend democracy, not degrade it.
Yes, I can't believe Debbie Wasserman Schultz is still in Congress.
Proven, patriotic, people-first leadership.
But she represents Florida, so I guess you can do worse.
I am proud to nominate Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House.
I love you can see Representative Green holding up his cane down there. I love that guy.
The reading clerk will now call the roll.
Adams.
Yeah. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is like genital warts.
Adderholt. Jordan. Aguilar. Jeffries. Alford. Jordan. Allen.
Here we go again.
Allred.
It's a foregone conclusion. Jim Jordan is going to lose.
Jordan. Armstrong. Jordan.
You never get rid of genital warts. They keep coming back.
Jordan. Auchincloss. Jeffries. Babin. Jordan. Bacon. McHenry.
The C-SPAN has the counter up, but they did not do a good job the other day, so I will pull up the C-SPAN counter. It's looking like it's going to be over 30 this time.
Jordan. Balderson. Jordan. Ballant. Jeffries. Banks. Jordan. Barr. Jordan. Bedegan. Jeffries. Bean of Florida. Jordan. Beatty. Jeffries. Bentz. Jordan. Barra. Jeffries. Bergman. Jordan.
There's nothing wrong with that, Sky Comet. We love you just the way you are.
Bice. Jordan. Biggs. Jordan.
Even kind of find it amusing that we've got an ace in here with all these sexually charged deviants.
Of Georgia. Jeffries. Bishop of North Carolina. Jordan. Blumenauer. Jeffries. Blunt Rochester. Jeffries. Bobert.
Speaking of sexually charged deviants.
Bonamici. Jeffries. Bast. Bast. Bowman. Jeffries. Boyle of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Brackeen. Jordan. Brown. Jeffries. Brownlee.
By the definition of deviance, yes, being asexual is deviant.
Buchanan. Donalds.
Deviance meaning anything out of the norm, which what the fuck is normal?
Buck. Emmer.
So 4 is the number that Jim Jordan cannot afford to lose. We're already approaching it.
Bouchon.
5 is for sure a nail in the coffin.
Butzinski. Jeffries. Burchett.
So foregone conclusion, Jordan is losing again.
Jordan. Burgess. Jordan. Burleson. Jordan. Bush. Jeffries. Calvert. Jordan. Kamek.
That's exactly right. The House can't do anything.
Caraveo. Jeffries. Carbajal. Jeffries. Cardenas. Jeffries. Carey.
You are not ugly, no.
Jordan. Carl. Jordan. Carson. Jeffries.
Alexandra keeping us updated on the flips from the second ballot. Thank you.
Carter of Louisiana. Jeffries. Carter of Texas. Jordan.
Sounded really timid when they said that.
Jeffries. Kassar. Jeffries. Case.
What happened to Cartwright?
Jeffries.
Shouldn't we send a search party out for them? Dufresne, party of 4. You don't get to eat until you find Cartwright.
Jeffries. Castro of Texas. Jeffries. Chavez DeReamer. McHenry.
Voted for Patrick McHenry. That is the nail in the coffin.
Shearfullis McCormick.
I was predicting 24 votes against Jim Jordan.
Jeffries.
But the C-SPAN reporter was saying it could be up to 30 against
Jordan.
him.
Clark of Massachusetts. Jeffries. Clark of New York. Jeffries. Cleaver. Jeffries. Klein. Jordan. Cloud. Jordan.
The people with the bipolar do seem to be more slutty.
Jeffries. Clyde.
Just saying that from personal experience.
Cohen. Jeffries. Cole.
The Groundhog Day joke.
Collins. Jordan. Comer. Jordan. Connolly. Jeffries. Correa. Jeffries. Costa. Jeffries. Courtney. Jeffries. Craig. Jeffries. Crane. Jordan. Crawford. Jordan.
You youngins.
Crenshaw.
I would give anything. I would give everything I own to piss in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole.
Jeffries.
Give me that eye pussy, sir.
Jeffries. Curtis. Jordan. Davids of Kansas. Jeffries. Davidson. Jordan. Davis of Illinois.
I wish Pete Davidson was in Congress.
Jeffries.
That'd be fun.
Davis of North Carolina. Jeffries. Dean of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. DeGette. Jeffries. De La Cruz. Jordan. DeLauro. Jeffries. Del Bene. Jeffries. DeLuzio. Jeffries. DeSagne. Jeffries. Desjardins. Jordan.
Desjardins is a rapist.
D'Esposito. Zeldin.
The Desjardins story is insane.
Diaz-Balart. Scalise.
Forced a woman that he raped to have an abortion. Still got elected to Congress. Good job, Tennessee.
Dingle.
Nix, congrats.
Doggett. Jeffries. Donalds. Jordan. Duarte. Jordan. Duncan. Jordan. Dunn of Florida. Jordan. Edwards. Jordan.
Damn it, Libertad.
Elsie.
We love you. We love you anyway.
Mike Garcia. Emmer. Jordan. Escobar. Jeffries. Eshu. Jeffries. Espaillat. Jeffries. Estes.
Yeah, fuck Justin Timberlake.
Evans. Jeffries.
I'm glad I've always thought he was a piece of shit.
Jordan.
Especially after the Janet Jackson thing.
Jordan. Feenstra. Jordan. Ferguson. Scalise.
The fact that the infinitely more talented Janet Jackson basically had her career destroyed after the Super Bowl. Well, Justin Timberlake, who
Jordan.
doesn't even have any talent,
Fishbach. Jordan.
continued to be in the public eye. Even got to have his own Super Bowl halftime show. Is just
Fitzpatrick.
That's a slap in the fucking face.
Henry.
I'm glad that Janet got to see somewhat of a career resurgence in the last few years. I'm glad she got like a spot at Glastonbury.
Fleischman. Jordan. Fletcher. Jeffries.
Our society hates women.
Flood.
Ain't that the truth?
Foster. Jeffries. Fushi.
I had a friend post about how
Fox.
all men are trash, and that men that aren't trash don't care if you call men trash. And I was like, damn right, men are trash. And then like a whole bunch of people was like, that's Miss Andre, that's Miss Andre. Shut the fuck up.
Scott Franklin. Jordan. Frost. Jeffries. Fry. Jordan. Fulcher.
I'm gonna need to make more coffee. I gotta go put the water on. Fuck you, Matt Gaetz.
Gallagher. Jordan. Gallego. Jeffries.
Rang the incel dinner bell, indeed.
Jeffries. Garbarino. Zeldin. Mike Garcia. Jordan. Robert Garcia. Jeffries. Garcia of Illinois. Jeffries. Garcia of Texas. Jeffries. Jimenez. McCarthy. Golden of Maine. Jeffries. Goldman of New York.
Oh, he mad.
Jeffries. Gomez. Jeffries. Tony Gonzalez.
Mogi is upset that I disturbed him. Went right back to where he was laying.
Vicente Gonzalez. Vicente Gonzalez. Good of Virginia.
Minez. Why do I know that name?
Gooden of Texas. Jordan.
There's a socks over here on the couch. He's just chilling.
Gosar. Jordan. Gottheimer. Jeffries. Granger. Scalise.
We've talked about moderate Republicans in the Democratic Party. Josh Gottheimer is like a far-right Republican in the Democratic Party.
Graves of Louisiana.
I do believe we've got more votes against Jordan than we did at this time in the roll call last time.
Green of Tennessee. Jordan.
Well, there's a meme that goes around, like
Jeffrey.
Oh, Cart Minez, that was his teacher name when he was how do I reach these kids?
Jordan. Griffith.
That's where I know that name from.
Grijalva. Jeffries. Grothman.
The there's a meme that goes around that like cats are a lesson in consent, right?
Jordan.
Because they very much have a mind of their own.
Jordan.
They do what they want.
Hageman.
And people that have a problem with
Harder of California.
independent thinkers
Harris.
and consent don't like cats.
Harshbarger.
Hug your cats to fight the incels.
Hayes. Jeffries. Hearn. Jordan. Higgins of Louisiana. Jordan. Higgins of New York. Jeffries. Hill. Jordan. Himes. Jeffries. Henson.
I had to feed the heathens when I went and refilled my coffee the last time. That's probably what they're all sleeping now. They got their breakfast. Like it's time for us to take our afternoon nap.
Jordan. Houlihan. Jeffries. Hoyer.
Harshbarger's husband yelled at you? That's great.
Hoyle of Oregon. Jeffries. Hudson. Jordan. Huffman. Jeffries. Huizinga. Jordan.
Wasn't that like the catchphrase of like Young Sheldon or some shit?
Hunt.
Huizinga?
Isa.
Hunt, first name Mike.
Jordan. Ivy.
We missed something.
Ivy. Jeffries. Jackson of Illinois. Jeffries. Jackson of North Carolina. Jeffries. Jackson of Texas. Jordan. Jackson Lee. Jeffries. Jacobs. Jeffries. James. Donalds.
You got yelled at for throwing boxes away in their dumpster? That's a control freak. It's a fucking dumpster.
Jayapal. Jeffries. Jeffries.
Don't do the applause thing. God damn it.
Johnson of Georgia.
We're going to get applause from Jordan here.
Johnson of Louisiana. Jordan. Johnson of Ohio. Jordan. Johnson of South Dakota. Jordan. Jordan. Jordan.
Fuck all of you two. Your performative bullshit. Applaud the loser.
Joyce of Ohio. Jordan. Joyce of Pennsylvania. Jordan. Cam Lagerdove. Jeffries. Captor. Jeffries. Kane of New Jersey. McCarthy.
I am not Snicks. I can only be in two places, and we are on Kick and YouTube.
Kelly of Illinois.
The video goes up on Odyssey right after we get off the stream, though.
Kelly of Mississippi.
Unfortunately, we're not live on there. Restream started charging for that shit.
Scalise. Kana. Jeffries. Kiggins of Virginia.
It does look like Jim Jordan is going to be around 30 votes against him.
Kildee. Jeffries.
Kick is a Twitch ripoff.
Jordan.
They tried to wake you up, Warlord. What are you talking about?
Jeffries.
You knew this was going on today. I'm going to go make more coffee. I'll be right back.
Kim of New Jersey. Jeffries. Krishnamurthy. Jeffries. Custer. Jeffries. Kustoff. Jordan. LaHood. Jordan. LaLota. Zeldin. LaMalfa. Jordan. Lamborn. Jordan. Landsman. Jeffries. Langworthy. Jordan. Larson of Washington. Jeffries. Larson of Connecticut. Jeffries. Latta. Jordan. LaTurner. Jordan. Lawler. McHenry. Lee of California. Jeffries. Lee of Florida. Jordan. Lee of Nevada. Jeffries. Lee of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Ledger Fernandez. Jeffries. Lesko. Jordan. Letlow. Jordan. Levin. Jeffries. Lou. Jeffries. Lofgren. Jeffries. Loudermilk. Jordan. Lucas. Jordan. Lutkemeyer. Jordan. Luna. Jordan. Latrell. Jordan. Lynch. Jeffries. Mace. Jordan. Magaziner. Jeffries. Maliotakis. Jordan. Mann. Jordan. Manning. Jeffries. Massey. Jordan. Mast. Jordan. Matsui. Jeffries. McBath. Jeffries. McCarthy. Jordan. McCall. Jordan. McLean. Jordan. McClellan. Jeffries. McClintock. Jordan. McCullum. Jeffries. McCormick. Jordan. McGarvey. Jeffries. McGovern. Jeffries. McHenry. Jordan. Meeks. Jeffries. Menendez. Jeffries. Mang. Jeffries. Muser. Jordan. Mfume. Jeffries. Miller of Illinois. Jordan. Miller of Ohio. Jordan. Miller of West Virginia. Jordan.
Hey, Justin, are
Miller
you
Meeks.
trolling?
McHenry. Mills. Jordan. Molinaro. Zeldin. Molinar. Jordan. Mooney. Jordan. Moore of Alabama. Jordan. Moore of Utah. Jordan. Moore of Wisconsin. Jeffries. Moran.
Sorry, I had to make more coffee. Turn the bathtub on for Maynard.
Morelli.
Had to email a client.
Jeffries.
Good morning, John.
Moskowitz. Jeffries. Moulton. Jeffries. Mervan.
Oh wow, it's gonna be over 30 against Jordan. This is embarrassing.
Murphy. Jordan. Nadler. Jeffries. Napolitano.
John, do you mean it's the day that Jordan's gonna learn to feel embarrassment?
Jeffries. Negus.
Italy suffering from sexual anarchy.
Nails.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Let's all go to Italy. Yes, Maynard loves to get in the bathtub. He wants me to turn the water on for him.
Nickel. Jeffries.
He gets in the shower with me when I take a shower.
Norman. Jordan.
It's the wildest thing. I've never had a cat do that before. And he didn't he didn't do it at the old apartment. I don't know why he does it now.
Jordan. Ocasio-Cortez.
Like he would sit on the toilet at the old apartment.
Ogles.
But like he actually gets in the bathtub with me.
Omar. Jeffries. Owens.
Ilhan Omar, a fucking hero.
Pallone.
That woman continues to serve despite the vitriol, the lies, the hatred.
Jordan. Panetta. Jeffries. Pappas. Jeffries. Pascrell.
Congratulations to her. She apparently just got married a few weeks ago.
Payne. Pelosi.
Ah, shut up. Retire.
Peltola. Jeffries. Pence. Jordan. Perez. Jeffries. Perry. Jordan. Peters. Jeffries. Pedersen. Jeffries. Pfluger. Jordan.
Well, they have to do a roll call vote for this.
Pingree. Jeffries. Pocan.
So for most votes, you can request a roll call, and they usually do when they want to delay.
Jeffries. Posey. Jordan.
I do believe it's mandatory to take a roll call vote
Presley.
for the speaker.
Quigley. Jeffries. Ramirez. Jeffries. Raskin.
You see these four right here.
Reschenthaler.
They are actually doing the tally. They conference with
Rogers
the
of Washington.
acting speaker
Jordan.
to make sure their tallies match at the end of the vote.
Rogers of Alabama. Jordan. Rogers of Kentucky. Jordan.
I forget what their title is. The House.
Rose. Jordan. Rosendale.
It's just names and sometimes places.
Ross. Jeffries.
They do. I mean, they have a electronic device on the back of their chair. It's just
Jordan.
a roll call vote is required.
Roy. Jordan.
What the fuck is your deal, Socks? What do you see?
Jeffries. Rupersberger. Jeffries.
Hoopersburger.
Rutherford.
They have a vaccine for that.
Scalise. Ryan. Jeffries. Salazar. Jordan.
So we're already up to 22.
Jeffries. Sanchez. Jeffries. Santos. Jordan.
George Santos.
Jeffries. Scalise.
Currently out on bond.
Jordan. Scanlon. Jeffries. Schakowsky. Jeffries. Schiff. Jeffries. Schneider. Jeffries. Skolton. Jeffries. Schreier. Jeffries. Schweikert. Jordan. Austin Scott. Jordan. David Scott. Jeffries. Scott of Virginia. Jeffries.
George Santos has been indicted on multiple counts.
Jordan.
Defrauding his campaign donors.
Jordan.
There should be 3 more other votes.
Jeffries.
So that'll bring us to 25. Not as many flips as C-SPAN was predicting.
Cheryl.
I said 24.
Jeffries. Simpson. Scalise.
There were apparently 5 or so Republicans who were willing to vote for Jim Jordan on this ballot that said this is the last time. Fox, what are you doing?
Jordan. Smith of Nebraska. Jordan. Smith of New Jersey.
Guess he wanted to get on camera. He wanted to make sure you guys could all see him.
Smith of Washington. Jeffries.
He's been feisty.
Smucker. Jordan.
With a name like Smuckers,
Sorensen.
you know they gotta be a dumb shit.
Jeffries. Soto. Jeffries. Spanberger. Jeffries. Spark.
Friday Night Freak Show tonight with Chainsaw.
Stansbury.
10 p.m. Eastern.
Jeffries.
The Stansberries taste like Stansberries.
Stanton. Jeffries.
I make that joke every fucking day.
Westerman.
Who?
Steele. Jordan. Stefanik. Jordan. Style. Jordan. Stubbe.
Captain Stubbe.
Stevens. Jeffries. Strickland. Jeffries. Strong. Jordan. Swalwell. Jeffries. Sykes. Jeffries. Takano. Jeffries. Tenney. Jordan. Tanadar. Jeffries. Thompson of California. Jeffries.
So once again, this is pointless.
Of Mississippi.
I'm
Jeffries.
sorry you all had to wake up early to witness this
Thompson of Pennsylvania.
bullshit.
Jordan.
Mainly sorry that I had to wake up early to witness this bullshit.
Timmons. Jordan. Titus. Jeffries. Talib. Jeffries. Takuda.
Wafu.
Jeffries. Tonko. Jeffries. Torres.
Justin.
California. Jeffries.
Good morning, my friend.
Torres of New York. Jeffries.
I mean, this is a morning shit.
Jeffries.
Right, Libertad?
Trone. Jeffries.
You're our resident scatologist.
Turner. Jordan.
A doctor of scatological...
Jeffries.
I don't know.
Valadeo. Jordan. Van Drew.
They have, John, they have. They have put forward many paths to help Republicans out of this, from empowering Patrick McHenry to voting for, they have said Mitt Romney, they've said Liz Cheney, and they've said Angus King.
Vargas.
they will vote for.
Jeffries.
The Republicans are solidly against.
Vasquez. Jeffries.
Doing this with Democrats. Feces.
Velasquez. Jeffries. Wagner. Jordan. Wahlberg. Jordan. Waltz. Jordan. Wasserman Schultz. Jeffries. Waters. Jeffries. Watson Coleman.
Maxine Waters, also a hero in Congress.
Jeffries. Weber of Texas. Jordan.
Well, hell yeah, we are glad to have you on the kick. If you would like to, you can use the Discord chat as well. If you go to the Discord and you go to the troll chat.
Jordan.
If you'd like to watch on YouTube but participate in the chat that's more
Wild.
more responsive, the Discord chat.
Williams of Georgia.
It's pretty instantaneous.
Jeffries.
That's another thing is Jim Jordan still in contempt of the House for ignoring a subpoena.
Williams of Texas. Jordan. Wilson of Florida. Jeffries. Wilson of South Carolina. Jordan. Whitman. Jordan. Womack. Scalise.
So I was wrong. I said 24. We were up to 25.
Yakum. Jordan. Zinke. Jordan.
Well, no, we would have thought it was Jim Jordan of California.
All right, so the first one you're going to have is Mr. Fox.
So we do have a couple of votes missing.
Fox. And then you have Vicente Gonzalez. I know Mr. Payne's in here.
What about Hunt?
Yeah, Hunt. And Hunt.
Yeah, Mike Hunt. I have no clue if his name is actually Mike. Mike Dry Hunt. It's either 217 or 216. We do have at least one person missing.
The reading clerk will now call the names of the members who did not answer the first roll call.
Bost. Jordan.
Bost, of course, the one got into a fight with Matt Gaetz yesterday.
Fox. Jordan. Vicente Gonzalez. Vicente Gonzalez. Hunt. Hunt. Payne.
Is there a Mike Hunt on the floor?
Payne.
Clinically, I don't know. I figured they would delay this one. I was honestly expecting to wake up and see that they delayed this. Because Justin has work to do. Justin got to make some money.
If there are members, any members who did not answer the call of the roll, they may come to the well and vote at this time.
Shake your ass. Watch yourself. Patrick McHenry apparently threatening to quit yesterday. Is there a cunt on the floor? Gates is apparently running for governor. And in Florida, he very well could win. Governor Gates is what we're looking at. I figured he was going to make a run for Senate. I give you the facts. There's absolutely no way he can win the presidency. But I said that about Trump in 2016, so, So surprisingly, Jim Jordan did not lose more votes. I watch YouTube on my computer and it still sucks. PP Girl, good morning. Jim Jordan is a 3-time loser. It's sad that the Democratic Party has pretty much abandoned Florida. Following the 2018 midterm, the spending that the DCCC and the DNC has done in Florida has been near nothing. And the Democratic Party apparatus in Florida is in complete disarray. Thank you, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Something that should worry everybody is that Miami-Dade actually went for Republicans in 2022. Let me repeat that. Miami-Dade County went for Republicans in 2022. I don't think the Democrats should abandon any state. I think that's a bad strategy. But they feel their resources are better spent elsewhere. Go make me a sandwich, clinically. Get back in the kitchen. Florida experiencing the worst inflation in the country right now. Ron DeSantis is actually pretty unpopular. His approval rating has dropped like a brick. Made a meatloaf the other day. It was so fucking good. Venus, that is what the Republican Party is counting on for the 2024 election. That they will depress the vote, that the Democrats won't turn out. Don't even get me started about the arrests of people that thought they could legally vote in Florida. That's election interference. They have a shortage of doctors and teachers, but they're getting all the cops from other states. They've been accused of excessive force. And that's sad because Florida has had like some of the best colleges in the country for the past like 20, 30 years. Florida colleges have ranked at the top. And Republicans are destroying the education system in Florida. Well, it doesn't even have to be perpetuated by Democrats. The only people that interfered in the 2020 election were Republicans, and they still blame us for it. You must be talking about Full Sail. Full Sail is a ripoff. I looked into going to Full Sail for a master's degree. And there was like discussion of me, being a teacher. But it was obvious it was a ripoff. Yeah, that's another big problem in Florida is insurance is leaving the state. Exactly, Dustin. They subsidize it with state funds. Florida has a lot of fucking problems. And let's not forget that the state settled a lawsuit about them covering up COVID deaths. Ohio, I feel so bad for Ohio because it was a swing state in 2000.
Are working to officially tabulate the results of,
and it has swung like 16 to 20 points in favor of Republicans in just the last 23 years.
Needed. The numbers right now looking like 210 Democrats voting for Hakeem Jeffries. They are missing 2 of their members. 194 for Jim Jordan. 25 Republicans defecting. That number has grown since earlier in the week when there were 20 on Tuesday, 22 on Wednesday, and on this Friday morning, 25 of his GOP colleagues voting against his nomination for Speaker. Live coverage here on the House. On the House.
Well, I'm talking about statewide races when I'm talking about the swing. So the gerrymandering wouldn't actually matter on that. But it is a highly gerrymandered state. trying to change the Constitution to pass their abortion ban. The people of Ohio actually aren't having it, which is cool. Republicans doing everything that they can to rig the vote for their abortion ban. Sherrod Brown, a fantastic senator. I'm hoping he pulls it out. He's up for re-election in 2024. That's one of the races we're going to be watching closely.
We are waiting for the official count of this third round of balloting on the nomination of Jim Jordan, the Republican from Ohio, to serve as Speaker. And we are learning from Capitol Hill reporters, Billy House of Bloomberg, Eric Wasson of Bloomberg as well, that the conference, the GOP conference, will head back into a closed-door meeting at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Again, Jim Jordan not getting the magic number he needed today on this third round of balloting to become Speaker.
So it looks like there won't be a vote. Maybe later tonight. I will look into Progressive Victory. I'm not sure about their organization. I'm willing to collaborate with anybody, but also I don't play well with others. I do play well with Chainsaw though, and Chainsaw will be the special guest co-host tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Friday Night Freak Show. If we're not doing a speaker vote again. I don't play well with others. Come on over, Chainsaw. Chainsaw getting into the dregs of society, coming down into the gutter with us. The only thing good about Ohio is Skyline Chili. I've professed my love for Skyline many times.
The House will come to order. The tellers agree in their tally that the total number of votes cast is 420.
House tellers, that was the word I was looking for earlier.
Jordan of the state of Ohio has received 194. The Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 210.
There's less people voting. And he still lost votes.
The Honorable Patrick McHenry of the state of North Carolina has received 6. All right, the House will come to order. The House will come to order. The Honorable Baron Donalds of the state of Florida has received 2. The Honorable Tom Emmer of the state of Minnesota has received 1. Lee Zeldin of the state of New York has received 4. The Honorable Steve Scalise of the state of Louisiana has received 8. The Honorable Mike Garcia of the state of California has received 1. The Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California has received 2. The Honorable Bruce Westerman of the state of Arkansas has received 1. No person having received a majority of the whole number of votes cast by surname, a speaker has not been elected. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
So apparently they're going to go back to conference.
The gavel has come down, and once again, Republicans have.
Thank you, Venus.
To accept.
It is. I love this color pink.
Nominee McCarthy to be Speaker of the House. We are 17 days now without a Speaker of the House of Representatives. We want to get your reaction to
bow tie, bitch.
On Capitol Hill. Republicans 202-748-8921. Democrats 202-748-8920. All others 202-748-8922. You can also text us, include your
I've never seen it under a black light.
202-748-8903. You can post on X with the handle @C-SPAN.
X gonna give it to you.
.com/C-SPAN. We already have calls lined up. Let's go to the
I bet you do.
Columbia, Maryland Republican. Sakina, what did you make of this third round of votes today?
Well, I'm actually very, very disappointed in the Republicans. I'm not sure what they're doing. I know politics, it's important, yet it's still, in some ways, it's a game, and you have to play the game. It seems as though the Democrats know how to play the game. You may not want
Do they?
But he is the person that's there now, and he needs the votes, and they should just give him the votes, stick together, and
just let it happen.
It doesn't make any sense.
Sakina,
don't want to do.
The opposition is growing. He lost more votes today.
He lost more votes. Unbelievable.
So you think they should stick with him?
Well, they should have. I don't know what to do at this point. I would even say, for me, I really think a really smart move is to have Trump as the interim speaker.
Okay, Sakina, I'm gonna put you on hold. Let's go to the Capitol steps. Matt Gaetz is talking to reporters.
Have no goals, have no asks, have no objectives other than to see the 8 of us suffer some consequence for having removed McCarthy. So we've made them an offer. The 8 of us have said that we are willing to accept censure, sanction, suspension, removal from the Republican conference. We, of course, will remain Republicans. We will continue to vote with Republicans on Republican principles. But if what these holdouts need is a pound of our flesh, we're willing to give it to them in order to see them elect Jim Jordan for Speaker.
The world's on fire, and some of these colleagues, the world's on fire, and some of your colleagues do blame you for this disruption.
Well, I would say that we've got a speaker designate. We could elect him. We could have a speaker right now. And, I think the world was on fire when America sat atop a $33 trillion debt with no plan to reduce spending. I think the world was on fire as we watched the dollar just continue to slip away in its status as the global reserve currency. So maybe when the lobbyists and the special interests don't have total control of a Speaker of the House, they think the world is on fire and in chaos. But we actually believe this is governing, this is legislating, this is working through our differences. We believe Jim Jordan is an inspirational Republican candidate for House Speaker. And for those
Steve Scalise called himself David Duke without the baggage.
What do you want other than for us to suffer?
They've called recess clinically.
We stand ready to endure.
For 9.5 months, the Republican Party failed the American people. We delivered no wins for the American people in the first 9.5 months. The two opportunities we had to force positive change for the American people with the Democrat Senate and Democrat White House was the debt ceiling and the continuing resolution, both of which we did what Democrats overwhelmingly wanted us to do. Jim Jordan represents a chance to put a fighter and a leader at the top of the Republican conference that will actually work for the American people instead of the special interests.
Congressman, those you're talking about, you say that they just want to punish you. But when I talk to them, they say that they have real problems with Jim Jordan, that they see strong-arm tactics, they see the way he treated Steve Scalise, they don't trust him. They're saying the same things you said about Kevin McCarthy. How do you not respect that kind of point of view?
Well, we know Jim Jordan. I've worked with Jim Jordan on the
We know Jim Jordan.
He's not a person who leads through strong-arm tactics. I think that Jim Jordan is being unfairly blamed by some for the tactics of outside groups that Jim Jordan has no control over. We want to meet with our colleagues. We want to understand how they can get to a comfort level with Jim Jordan. We in January allowed the ascent of Kevin McCarthy to the speakership. We had specific goals. When those promises were made to meet those goals, we were willing to work with the team. So our call is to our fellow Republicans to vote with the team, work with the team, help us elect a Republican speaker.
And hold on real quick, how can you say that these are strong-arm tactics? How can anybody say strong-arm tactics? We've had, 3 votes in the entire week? Back in January, you guys remember, it was vote after vote after vote after vote. Jim holds one vote, and then he goes and he tries to talk to these folks. And here's the other thing about Jim Jordan. I hear a lot in this conference about, oh, you got to support the team, you got to support the conference, you got to support the majority. What do the American people say? Are you guys hearing what the American people are saying? He is the #2 most popular Republican in the entire country.
Really?
The vast majority of Americans want Jim Jordan. And one of the problems in this town is a lot of the representatives up here don't really care.
Is he really the? I mean,
American people certainly say they want a speaker.
Kevin McCarthy.
like being the most popular turd in the punch bowl or some shit.
Rounds. It wasn't until the 12th round that he gained even one vote. Jim Jordan has had 3 votes. He's got roughly 200 Republicans supporting.
I mean, I'd believe it.
It sounds better to smear Jim Jordan, to blame him for the actions of others that he does not control, than to tell your constituents that you don't want to vote.
The Freak Show is at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight.
Want to vote to continue to represent the special interests in Washington.
With Chainsaw,
Republicans who gave us the
a
majority.
special guest co-host. We might be doing this again later.
Kevin McCarthy lost votes.
Quesadilla.
Jim Jordan
Good afternoon.
For 3 rounds, Kevin McCarthy did not gain 1 vote until the 12th round, when 14 out of 20 members flipped their vote. And yet folks want to report that, hey, Jim Jordan has no path to victory after 2 rounds, now 3 rounds.
I have sensitive eyes, so I don't blame them for wearing sunglasses.
Let me make a point. This is not about us.
Clown show now, freak show later.
On this thing, so I think that needs to be made clear. It's not about the 435. It's about the 8 of us saying this is what we'll do.
Are you all concerned at all that what's going on? Some
But I mean, the 8 of them doesn't even get Jim Jordan over the line at this point.
That's always an option, but I just don't see that. And why would Hakeem Jeffries, who's on record of denying multiple elections, why would he, if he had that working in secret, why would he disclose that to the public? That's just to cast doubt. And
I'll give you a good morning.
And everybody comes run salivating, and it's just not accurate.
Republicans across the country should take note that when Patrick McHenry read his own number of votes that he received, the Democrat side of the chamber cheered roundly for that. So,
would you support a resolution to remove Patrick McHenry as Speaker Pro Tem?
I think he's doing a fine job as Speaker Pro Tem. He needs to stay in that role and do his one job, which is also our primary job, which is elect the Speaker.
And by the way, Speaker McHenry Pro Tem deserves credit.
Good evening, Libertad.
Calls to expand the Pro Tem role beyond how it is contemplated in the Constitution. Patrick McHenry has earned our respect for having abided by the limitations on the power of the Pro Tem position, and for that, he should be commended.
And just to clarify, what are the things that you're willing to do? You said remove from conference, remove from committees. What is that?
Well, you know, we're eager to better understand how those who are unwilling to vote for Jim Jordan would react to our willingness to accept some consequence. We violated no rules of the House. We violated no rules of the House Republican Conference.
That were voted on unanimously.
Yeah, but if
Kevin McCarthy voted for these rules.
Yeah, but if what people need is to see, you know, the 8 of us wrapped on the knuckles in order to get on to the business of governing, what we're saying is we're open-minded to that.
We believe what we did was right. We stand behind what we did. We believe the Republican Party, the Republican Conference needs to change. Congress needs to change. However, if we're the reason that the conference can't,
It does need to change. They need to vote you the fuck out.
we're willing to submit ourselves to whatever
Including
consequence.
committee assignments.
Well, we've said if you were removed from the conference, I suppose that would mean that you would lose your committee assignments, but we would remain proud members of the Republican Party as nominated by our respective districts. We share the Republican Party's stated objectives and values, but we're telling the conference if they want to bring consequence to us individually, and if that would help them to elect Jim Jordan as Speaker, then we're willing to submit.
You mentioned that
It's sad that Bob Good is the representative from Charlottesville. Charlottesville, wonderful city. Love that city.
That his 4th vote is going to be for Mr. Trump. Are you worried that more of your colleagues are going to flip in some other direction?
Well, I'm pretty sure Troy Nehls isn't going to stand between Jim Jordan and the speakership. I've got a pretty high confidence.
Thank
you. Oh yeah, thank you for the follow.
Well, I mean that's the goal with this letter.
Some breaking news there on Capitol Hill. Tim Burchett, Eli Crane, Bob Good, and Matt Gaetz, 4 of the 8 who voted to oust Kevin McCarthy from the speakership, saying they're offering up a punishment of themselves.
But they're not enough to get Jim Jordan over the line.
They would accept.
That's irrelevant.
They would accept removal from the conference, which would remove them from committees, and you heard them vowing to continue to support the Republican Party in votes. Let's listen to Nancy Mace, also one of those 8 who voted to oust Kevin McCarthy.
Do you think frustration will grow if you go to more votes, or just can you describe it?
Well, certainly the pressure some members are feeling for not voting the will of the people they represent, for not voting the will of their voters and their constituents. They're feeling that pressure, as they should. The people want Jim Jordan. That's who they want. But instead, some of our colleagues are putting personal politics ahead of the people.
I don't think the people want Jim Jordan.
To change the direction of our conference, to change the direction of our country with leadership that is honest, trustworthy, and works hard.
If we go by the most votes, the people want Hakeem Jeffries.
That's what they need, and that is what they deserve.
But what do you say to them for the fact that, you voted your conscience 2 weeks ago? Maybe these members are voting their conscience. I mean, how do you say
they
that
have
they
to square that away with their voters?
But what about the people receiving death threats?
I received 4 death threats last weekend. I received another one the week before that, another one 2 weeks before that. I've had my house vandalized 3 times in 3 years. I've had my car keyed twice. In fact, the truck I drive at home is still keyed because I haven't had time to get it fixed. I've had 2 family members this summer had their cars broken into. My 80-year-old parents have been threatened.
Yeah, to be fair, I get death threats almost daily, so.
My fiance has had threats. This is something that I've been dealing with for 3 years. It breaks my heart that some of my colleagues are going through this. I go through this almost every single day. I have to carry a gun when I'm home. When I do public events, I have to have security because of the death threats.
Can you imagine what representatives like Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib feel?
The times that we're in, I see it from both sides of the aisle, and it breaks my heart, which is why
Can you imagine the hatred?
Who's going to tell the truth and is going to work hard for the people of this country.
What do you think celebrity people are?
That Cori Bush gets, that Jamal Bowman gets.
That people are actually behind him.
If you look at your constituents who are calling into your office, the people that support Jim Jordan, it's overwhelmingly positive, and they'll have to square that away with their voters and with their constituents. That's not on me, that's on them. I would like us to see us come together. I don't think we should leave this place until we elect a speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nancy Mace, Republican of South Carolina, talking to reporters there. She is in Jim Jordan's camp. She and other Republicans are heading behind closed doors at 1 p.m. Eastern time for what reporters on Capitol Hill are calling another family meeting. We will see what comes out of that. So here are some other.
They don't seem like much of a family.
Tweets from reporters on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, can you imagine the death threats AOC gets?
Tell us that they will vote in a closed meeting as to whether Jim Jordan should remain the party's nominee for Speaker. So that could happen behind closed doors in about 40 minutes. You also have Eric Wasson. Jordan doesn't answer when I asked him if he will go another round. All he told reporters is, we're heading to conference. Let's go back up.
I'm glad your sandwich was awesome clinically.
Talking to reporters.
I'm getting hungry now.
Being kicked out of committees or the conference as a whole, if that would help the Republican Party come together and elect a speaker?
Well, we'd still need their votes. I mean, that's the thing. We got to stop focusing on the rearview mirror and look forward, because when you have a narrow majority, you can lose four. We can lose right now. So I want to talk about retribution or
the leopard's eating my face party.
The motion to vacate. 96% of our Congress.
He had a meatloaf sandwich.
4% voted for this chaos. 100% of the Democrats voted for this chaos. So I think it's rich that you have Democrats throwing and look at, we're the adults in the room. These guys are children. Okay, 100% of you voted for this. We had a speaker. So I think that's
because Kevin McCarthy wouldn't give them anything.
Their solution here is retribution, But what do you think the path forward is? How do you see the 8 who outvoted to oust McCarthy? They're saying, okay, it seems like the only solution is for us to face retribution.
No.
You're saying that's not it, but what do you think is the path forward?
The path forward is to respect the conference rules and the spirit of the precedent and go through a process, have a nominee, and have 221 Republicans go vote for that person. They didn't have the Democrats didn't have that problem.
Look at her swaggering up with this smirk on her face.
The country with the state capitals. There's a reason you get a majority of the majority, and you go out on the floor and you make it official.
So at this point, you want the 25 who are voting against Jordan now to just go behind Jordan. Is that kind of where you're at?
Well, I'm always a big. Was Steve Scalise should be the Speaker of the House today because he was the first one that won the conference. This is why when you lack party discipline, this is what happens. This is what I said back in January when Kevin McCarthy was having this problem, and it was from on the political spectrum of.
I hate that they keep blaming Democrats because all they had to do was give Democrats something, and if the reporting is correct, all they asked for was for them to drop the impeachment inquiry into Biden.
Within our party, do it to you. And that's precisely what we have today. It all happened within the same year. I didn't think it would be, I didn't feel like I was Nostradamus or anything, but that's what happened.
McCarthy made mention of an ethics complaint against Gates yesterday.
We're going to leave Pat Fallon on the Capitol steps there, Republican of Texas, to go to
Here we go.
Hakeem Jeffries holding a news conference on Capitol Hill.
Security interests so that we can stand by Israel in its time of need, stand by Ukraine in its time of need, stand by our allies.
Flash, good morning, good afternoon.
Humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza who may be in harm's way, and reach a spending agreement so we can keep the government open, avoid a shutdown, and continue to solve problems on behalf of everyday Americans. House Democrats continue to make clear that we are willing to find a bipartisan path forward so we can reopen the House and solve problems for hard-working American taxpayers. It's time for traditional Republicans to get off the sidelines, get in the arena, realize that the chaos, dysfunction, and extremism has to end, and the only way to do
the chaos, the cash, the coffee, chainsaw will be the special guest co-host tonight on the Friday Night Freak Show.
Reopen the House and govern in a reasonable, common sense way. It's time for House Republicans to embrace bipartisanship and abandon extremism once and for all. That embrace bipartisanship and abandon extremism. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Leader. As we know, President Biden sent up this foreign aid package. How concerned are you about moving that forward, not just because of the lack of a speaker, but also given some Republican opposition to additional funding for Ukraine? And what kinds of conversations are you having now to try to shore up support so it's kind of ready to tee up whenever all this gets resolved?
Well, when the House reopens, I'm confident that the votes exist in combination between House Republicans and House Democrats to support a national security package.
Oh yeah, there's always money for war
in the free world. But we have to get the House reopened. Now, it's my expectation that the Senate will begin to act on President Biden's national security package sooner rather than later. But if the House is not reopened,
I think they already have.
Unnecessarily, and lives will.
I'll be honest, I haven't been paying attention to the Senate the last couple of days.
It's a serious situation, which is why the chaos and the dysfunction has to come to an end. It's now my understanding that
the chaos, the coffee, and the cash.
Extreme MAGA Republicans on the other side.
Special guest co-host of the Friday Night Freak Show tonight, Chainsaw,
Jim,
10 p.m. Eastern.
And if that in fact is the case, it's an additional data point that there is only one way out, a bipartisan path forward to arrive at a reasonable arrangement to embrace common ground and common sense on behalf of the American people.
I take your point about the bipartisan path, but there's some school of thought that McHenry should just kind of try it out, see if he can put a resolution forward, see if the parliamentarian stops him.
Yeah, no.
It's a method that he should explore.
In the aftermath of the September 11th tragedy, this mechanism was put in place for the designation of an acting Speaker pro tem, whose sole responsibility was to to organize the House in the context of a speaker election. That was done under a House Republican majority with bipartisan votes on the Democratic side of the aisle as well. And so it's clear that Acting Speaker Pro Tem McHenry's authority is simply to preside over an election for a permanent speaker. The only other alternative is for the House to act together in a bipartisan way.
Power sharing agreement.
Speaker Pro Tem. That doesn't have to be Patrick McHenry. There are many good men and women on the Republican side of the aisle.
What?
Who I believe are patriotic. They care about America. They care about our democracy.
I want whatever he's smoking.
That they represent, who would be reasonable individuals to consider. But there's going to have to be a move on the Republican side of the aisle to make a decision to break with the extremists who are tearing the Republican conference apart. It's a mess on the other side of the aisle, and the problem is the American people are paying the price.
It goes without saying right now that the House is pretty dysfunctional. When a new speaker...
The House Republican...
I disagree. I think they should be painting the Republican Party as an extremist party. The entire party is responsible. There aren't moderate Republicans.
What is this dysfunction that you've been seeing? How does that vote for the ability to pass supplemental appropriation bills? Are you concerned about that?
Our message to our Republican colleagues is that we need to reopen the House so that we can do things like make sure there's child care funding for working families, middle-class families, and low-income families. We need to
exactly, John.
So we can ensure that the affordable broadband connectivity program that provides access to people all across the country in urban America, rural America, suburban America, small-town America, the middle of America, the heartland of America, and Appalachia has access to affordable internet service. We need to reopen.
Let's nationalize internet service providers then.
Additional disaster relief to Americans all across the country in blue states, purple states, and red states whose lives have been devastated by extreme weather events. We need to reopen the House to solve problems for hardworking American taxpayers. And House Democrats continue to say we are willing to do that in a bipartisan fashion because clearly the votes do not exist in the House Republican Conference alone to elect a speaker.
At this point, like, Trump became president. Like, I always thought I couldn't be a politician because of my past.
Rejected Jordan.
But Trump became president, so it doesn't even fucking matter anymore.
McHenry, this can only be done in a bipartisan fashion. And we're serious about partnering with House Republicans.
I mean, Matt Gaetz has credible accusations of trafficking.
Go back to this side and then come back to me.
Thank you. Would House Democrat require a concession from Congressman McHenry in order to elect him speaker?
Yeah, we have not discussed concessions because our view is that we want a partnership in the best interest of the American people. That simply requires the House to reopen and function in a bipartisan way. So that bills that...
That's very true, Sky Comment.
Support from
Al Franken found that out.
Democrats,
Katie Hill found that out.
Up or down votes on the House floor and can't be blocked by a marauding band of extremists on the hard right. That's all we want. That's a reasonable...
This is the man that plays some Skyrim.
...govern in a bipartisan way to solve problems for the American people. So it's not about the individual.
Marauders.
It's about the interests of everyday Americans. It's about the integrity of our institution, which House Republicans have broken at this moment.
Two questions. One, have you heard from any Republicans today on this Joyce resolution or anything of the sort? Two, do you need a guarantee from them that they will bring the White House supplemental up for a vote before you guys support any kind of resolution like that?
Well, common sense suggests to me that if we are going to reopen the House, it should be done so that the pressing business of the American people is before us, and that would include the national security issues presented by President Biden for Congress's consideration so we can be there for Israel and its right to defend itself against.
To be honest with you, not shoveling money at Israel is a good thing right now.
And the courageous struggle to defeat Vladimir Putin and Russian aggression, for our allies in the Indo-Pacific, for Palestinian civilians who are in harm's way, and for
Do it, Sky Comet. We will help you get elected to school board.
It's important that we reopen the House so that we can pass an end-of-year spending agreement that meets the needs of the American people, consistent with the Bipartisan Fiscal Responsibility Act that was passed at the end of May and negotiated by House Republicans with President Biden, with more than 300 members of the Congress supporting it in a bipartisan way. We're asking House Republicans simply to do one thing with respect to avoiding a government shutdown.
Their job?
The government by the end of the year. Stick to the agreement that you negotiated and supported as a majority at the end of May. These are common sense things. And if there's an agreement to move forward and consider these common sense pieces of legislation, then I think there's a clear bipartisan path in order to reopen the House to solve problems for hardworking American taxpayers.
Have you talked to Republicans today?
I have not.
Do you plan to talk to Republicans about a path forward, or are you waiting for them to call you?
No, there have been ongoing conversations this past weekend and throughout the week, member to member, about coming to an enlightened agreement to reopen the House, because my Republican colleagues understand that they have to find a way to end the GOP chaos, end the GOP dysfunction, end the GOP extremism, and end the House Republican civil war.
That ain't happening.
It's bad for the House Republican Conference, but more importantly, it's bad for the Congress, it's bad for the country, it's bad for the communities that all of us took an oath to fiercely represent.
When you say member-to-member discussions, are you talking about within the Democratic caucus, or Democrats talking one-on-one with Republicans?
Democrats and Republicans having conversations with each other.
Does that involve leadership?
I have not had any conversations with the other side of the aisle. A leader to talk to is going to have to emerge in order for that to occur.
At what point, if any, do you feel like you need to get involved in those conversations?
Well, the conversations that have been ongoing and in some ways have intensified throughout the week.
Cheese Bro is now flipped.
Briefed on every.
Is following Sidney Powell pleading guilty yesterday.
And it involves different parts of the House Republican Conference.
Cheese Bro now pleading guilty.
On the House.
The writing is on the wall.
Different parts.
Trump is fucked.
Conference who have rejected.
Yes, I know his name is not Cheese Bro, but I'm not gonna stop calling him that.
Conversations hopefully will intensify.
He's Cheese Bro to me.
Perhaps continue throughout the weekend and get us to a place where we can reopen the House no later than Monday of next week.
Do you
Thank
think
you, everyone.
that's possible, sir?
It's possible.
Monday?
It's possible.
I have a feeling it's gonna be just another manic Monday.
We are learning along with all of you. You just heard him tell the American people that conversations have been happening behind the scenes, member to member, Republicans and Democrats, and that those conversations are intensifying about some sort of bipartisan path forward. As many of you may know, Congressman Joyce, a Republican, has a resolution that would give Patrick McHenry, the Speaker pro tem, temporary powers so that they could move legislation to the floor. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, telling reporters that a leader has to emerge for this conversation to continue to get more serious, for Democrats to have a conversation about whether or not they would support that idea. Now, Republicans, it's 12:36 here on the East Coast. Republicans are slated to meet behind closed doors for a family meeting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We learned from reporters earlier that there is the possibility that Congressman Jim Jordan, who just lost his third round of voting for Speaker, that Republicans tell us that they will vote in the closed-door meeting as to whether Jordan should remain the party's nominee for Speaker.
At least one person says they will vote for Trump.
Leaving the Capitol today, was asked if he will go another round. He did not answer, only telling reporters, "We will meet in conference." Sakina, who has been waiting this whole time, listening to these members on the Capitol steps, and then the Democratic leader, a Republican from Columbia, Maryland. Let's get your reaction.
Who was saying some dumb shit when we cut her off.
Well, it's very interesting. I think it's interesting that Matt Gaetz would actually have himself censored in order for Jordan to become Speaker. That's quite a plan. I'm very surprised to hear that. And also, Joaquin Jeffries, he continues to talk about bipartisanship, yet all of the Democrats just vote for him. So that kind of doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to have bipartisanship, they have to flip some of their votes also.
If you want to have bipartisanship, the Republicans have to give them something.
The Democrats have been united behind Hakeem Jeffries and opposing Jim Jordan as the nominee for Speaker. So as you heard him say, they want to see someone else, a consensus candidate.
Yes, I understand that. But I happen to like Jim Jordan, and he's called an extremist, but actually I think he's somebody that wants the truth put forward, and I like the work that he does.
Okay.
And so perhaps, yeah.
All right, Sakina. Well, thanks for hanging on the line with Scott Wong of NBC News. Tweeting out earlier, right after this vote was gavelled down. Jeffries, 210. Jordan, 194 in this latest round of voting. 25 opposing him. That number has grown from 20 on Tuesday, 22 on Wednesday. Today, because there were absences, the magic number was 214, not 217. He includes a quote there from the Speaker pro tem. A speaker has not been elected. Pete in New Haven, Connecticut, independent.
What up, Pete?
Hi, I could solve this whole, I have the answer to this whole problem.
Let's hear it.
It's been Trump is the one that's responsible for all this turmoil in the House. And the only way that I think that Jordan can get the votes, even though I'm not happy to see him be chairman, be the House Speaker, but I might change my mind if he comes out of this conference at 1 o'clock and go to the American people after that conference and say that I'm sorry that I mislead you and about the voting that's been rigged. The election has been over 7 million people have voted for Biden, and so that's unanimous. There was no cheating going on. If he can admit that, because former President Trump had brainwashed Jordan and McCarthy, and that's what the problem is. Even 2 days ago on ABC News, the reporter asked Jordan, do you still deny the election? He wouldn't answer that question. He just walked right by and went and closed the door. So you see, that some of the Republicans are seeing that. They want an honest man to be Speaker. And the only way that's going to happen is to apologize for what...
The only way there's going to be an honest man as Speaker is if they elect Hakeem Jeffries.
Trump, totally.
All right, Pete. Kathy in Toledo, Ohio, Democratic caller. Kathy, welcome to the conversation.
Hi, I'm from Ohio, and Jim Jordan is not right for the United States. If their Republicans were smart, they would put a moderate up there that everybody can vote in, because I think the Democrats would...
He's not a moderate.
...to the Republican side to nominate a Republican if they picked somebody up that was a moderate and would work with them.
Okay, so who would that moderate be? Do you have a name?
You know, I cannot come up with a name, but I will tell you there is a committee that works together to solve problems in the House between Republicans and Democrats. Perhaps a Republican that sits on that committee.
Well, I'll give you a name then, because the co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus is Representative Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, and he voted twice in the first two rounds of voting for Jim Jordan. He then flipped. That's Brian Fitzpatrick, Republican of Pennsylvania. He flipped today and he voted for Patrick McHenry, the Speaker Pro Tem, making him the first lawmaker today to flip their vote away from Jordan on this round. This is from the Hill newspaper, and the ninth to vote against the Ohio Republican. Jake Sherman noting again for all of you that in about 20 minutes, Republicans will go behind closed doors to decide, does Jim Jordan continue or not? Alexander in St. Augustine, Florida, Republican. Hello, Alexander.
This should be good.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be talking to you on C-SPAN. I just want to start off by saying right now I am ashamed to call myself a Republican.
You should be.
The party is lurched away from the mainstream, and you know we have people like Jim Jordan who is seen as the best choice for the party. Obviously now a lot of Republicans are feeling otherwise, and there's a look for more moderate representation, but I don't believe that's there. I'll have to look into the name that you said, but the Republican Party has quite frankly become the party of Trump, and I feel like our values as a party have just been tarnished by Donald Trump and his agenda. Most Republicans now.
This is a Florida Republican saying this.
They're Trumpists. It's kind of become a cult of personality, and we're seeing that now with the speaker race. And with the Speaker of the House being vacant, you know, we've seen kind of inaction in Congress, and we've seen inaction in Congress long before that. But nothing's happening. No votes are being done. And I believe that the longest vacancy in the United States history of a Speaker of the House was 18 days. And right now we're sitting at 17, meaning 2 more days. And this will make history if it has not already. Well, so I am quite displeased.
Oh, I didn't know your cat was missing.
History has been made in this Congress and in this year. Reporters noting that this is the 18th roll call vote held in alphabetical
tones
for a speaker.
Same shit, different day.
This year, Alex.
Jim Jordan lost more votes this time. 25 people voting against him.
But I won't get into that. But it's been a pleasure talking to you.
All right, Dennis, in Florida, independent. Hi, Dennis.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Hi, Dennis. Go ahead.
Is this me?
Yeah. Well, I was basically a lifelong Republican, switched over to independent. I always voted for the best person. I left the Republican Party because of the idiocy that's going on like today. They can't get their stuff together. They seem to be more radical. I won't vote Democratic because they give away the country, throw the borders open. Politics in the United States today is in the worst situation I've seen in my 75 years around this world.
Some more from the vote.
Fucking boomer.
For Politico, 3 new no votes today, and 2 Jordan supporters did not vote who were here yesterday. Those Democrats were Representatives the Republicans were Representatives Hunt and Van Orden. They were not here today for the vote. Not as many new no votes as some of my anti-Jordan GOP sources predicted. They had said that there would be an additional 5 to 8 no votes on this third round of voting, but there were 3 additional. Payne and Vicente Gonzalez missed the vote on the Democratic side. So those were the 2 Democrats that were missing. Hakeem Jeffries, as you all know, in each round of voting has secured all 212 of his Democratic colleagues. Today, that number was 210 because those 2 members were missing. Bruce, Portland, Oregon, Democratic caller.
Hi, man. Thank you for taking my call. At first, it was kind of laughable with the McCarthy thing. But now, it's really getting out of hand.
It's ridiculous.
To figure it out. And I just hope that, the American voters see this.
Good afternoon.
These people in the GOP, they say they care about people. They don't care about people. Because if they cared about people, 17 days ago, they would have had a speaker. I mean, this is nonsense. I hope that we can get a speaker. I hope something. If McHenry doesn't want it, how about somebody, the guy, I believe I'm not sure what his name is, but he's from Oklahoma. He's an older guy.
I look like I just got pegged? Well, we don't king shame around here. I'm not into it, but
I mean, he seems to get along with.
if you like getting pegged, go for it.
So I don't know. I just hope and pray that these people can,
We promote sexual anarchy.
I mean, we're getting laughed at around
You
the
live in
world,
sexual
you know?
anarchy?
I just thank you for taking my call.
All right, Bruce. Yeah, Ian Swanson, who covers Capitol Hill, reports at 12:02, right after that vote. Kevin McCarthy, seconds after Jordan loses and a couple of hours after he gave his nominating speech, says that that's a question for Jim when asked if Jordan...
It's wild that somebody would come in here and say something like that to me. Like, I assume that you were trying to attack my manhood or something. When it's almost certain, like, I'm more manly than you are. Listen to my voice. Look at my fucking facial hair. Right-wingers, though, are morons.
On the neoliberal subreddit on Reddit and then through C-SPAN, and I just don't see a way out of this because the problem is Jordan is a House Freedom caucus guy, and establishment Republicans and just normal Republicans aren't going to support that. There is no path for him to gain more votes. He's just losing more and more. The only candidate from the Republican Party I could have seen possibly winning, the only two, are McCarthy and Scalise. I genuinely just don't see anyone else who can possibly win this. So at this point, for me, the best option now is some sort of consensus candidate, because McHenry, obviously, I mean, he was talking about setting a precedent, so he's not going to run. But it's a huge mess, and I don't see any way out of it at this point.
Okay. Annabelle's thoughts there in Michigan. The Hill newspaper noting that Representative Mark Molinaro, a Republican of New York, is the third Republican today to flip their vote away from Jordan, joining several fellow New York moderates in voting for former Representative Lee Zeldin.
Lee Zeldin, not a moderate.
Georgia Democratic caller. Hi, John.
How you doing? Thanks for taking my call. I think what the Democrats should do is just make a deal with the moderates. Just ask 5 or 6 of them to come on over, put Jeffries as the speaker, because the Republicans, this is just a clown show. I realize...
Clown show now, freak show at 10 p.m. Eastern.
The threats and all what's going on. All this stuff started under Donald Trump. So Trump is the reason for the position.
No. This didn't start with Donald Trump, I assure you.
Together with 5 or 6 Republicans and just say, hey, you know what? I'll offer you this chairmanship. Give them something. To make him speaker, and I think because the country has to move forward. We cannot stay stagnant, and the only way to do that is to put Hakeem Jeffries as a speaker. Get some Republicans to come on over.
I'm sure you want to peg me because you ain't got no fucking dick, do you?
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, Nancy Mace was on the Capitol steps, and she was
old dickless Fat J over here.
Ousted Kevin McCarthy from the speakership. The 8 have now written a letter to their colleagues, and Olivia Beavers with their reporting. The 8 who voted to oust McCarthy call for members to elect Jim Jordan, defending their vote. And you heard from Matt Gaetz, Bob Good, Eli Crane, Tim Burchett on the Capitol steps earlier saying, if they need a pound of our flesh, we'll give it. They can kick us out of the conference, and we'll lose our committee spots. They can.
Sounds kind of gay, Jay.
They're willing to
change your screen name to Fet Gay
for Jim Jordan as speaker. Betty in Foley, Alabama, independent. Hi, Betty.
Hi. First of all, Jim.
And we love you for it, Sky Comet.
It doesn't appear to be getting any better. He's his type personality and everything. There are people that are just not going to vote for him, or his policies, or so he needs to step aside, and there needs to be some other consensus. So number 2, the 8 people, Gates and the 8 people, that's a joke that they're getting more attention now by this offer, and
I'm amazed you're not having people on Grindr tell you that they want you to top them, PP girl.
Punish him. them. And they're just wanting to get their person elected.
And you have, and I'll
that's
just jump
ridiculous.
in to say you have people like Kay Granger, who's the chair of the Appropriations Committee, that she is voting against Jim Jordan because of his record on the government shutdown and appropriations bills.
I don't know what it's like on
If
Grindr.
they're doing that, you know, I mean, they shut the whole thing down by voting against McCarthy when he had, 8 people. He should have never been ousted. I mean, that's a clear majority. And the Democrats need to put their big boy britches on and accept responsibility.
The Republicans need to give the Democrats something for their votes.
So they're partly to blame, too. There's plenty of blame to go around. They're not so, it's just ridiculous. But I know, and I don't think I'm not embarrassed.
Yes, we know about Cheese Bro, Warlord. You're dropping the ball.
We just need to go on.
All right, Betty there in Independent, Foley, Alabama. Again, those 3 additional...
You want to talk about real shit? Libertad is the person that you want to talk to.
New York. This is the Hill newspaper. He flipped today from being a Jordan supporter on this 3rd vote to voting for Lee Zeldin.
Buddy, you don't even know what pegging is.
From New York. And then you had Brian Fitzpatrick, a Republican of Pennsylvania. He too flipped after 2 votes for Jordan today, moving away from the Ohio Republican. And you also had Eric Wasson with this tweet, vulnerable New Jersey Republican Tim Kaine flipping against Jordan. All 3 of those
fair enough, Warlord.
are in challenging districts, in swing districts.
For those of you who aren't aware, Warlord keeps everybody up to date on the news. Find out what that news be doing in the Discord.
Hold on, we're going to listen into George Santos, who's talking to reporters on his way into this Republican meeting.
Speaking of pegging, here's a man who likes to be pegged.
I think that's up to Jim Jordan. If he thinks it's time for him to step down, that's on him. I still support him. I think he should stay in, and I think the conversation should be had. But it comes down to the point of, if we don't have a real family conversation, the tough ones we have on Thanksgiving dinner, that's what needs to happen in there. Not shouting, not screaming, no disrespect, just asking the real questions that I don't think have been asked all the last 2 weeks. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you.
Didn't this motherfucker just shout at somebody in Congress just like last Friday?
Meeting. We'll see if we can hear from more of them as they make their way behind closed doors. Gabe, though, in Franklin, North Carolina, Democratic caller, thanks for waiting.
Thank you. I think it's a little funny to hear George Santos lecture us about anything. I think that they should go with empowering McHenry.
I've got news for you, Fat J.
To be
My swagger brings all the ladies.
and
You ain't manly enough to wear a pink bandana, and that's why you ain't getting no pussy.
the New York Republicans, maybe some of the California Republicans, to go along with the Democrats and maybe come to a power sharing agreement.
All right, Gabe, and we heard your point, but you're a little muffled, so I'm going to leave it there. Let's listen to Ralph Norman.
So we'll see.
But it doesn't seem like that's what this is about for a lot of them, that they're more opposed to him in principle and that they're profoundly opposed to him, as Mr. Womack said.
And we're profoundly supportive of Mr. Jordan. We're profoundly, his record shows he's been true to his word. He's a true conservative. So everyone's got an opinion, but we're strongly voting for Jordan. I told him that on the floor. He's got a path to victory. And just keep voting until we get there. And let the American people see what's going on here. Stand up like we're doing and casting your vote.
But are you worried the math is just straight up not going in his direction?
How many rounds did it take for McCarthy? He lost before he took 15. He lost before he actually got it.
McCarthy always gained in votes every round.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. On the 7th or 8th vote, he lost a good many. But he came back up.
Where is there any potential, of the resolution to give Speaker Pro Tem McHenry
No.
power? That's still dead.
That's dead.
In conference?
Unless they resurrect it today.
Okay. And you haven't heard that yet?
Have not. I hope they don't.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mary.
Ralph Norman, Republican of South Carolina, and you heard him repeat what we've heard from other conservatives today after this third round of voting failed, which is keep going. That Kevin McCarthy won after 15 rounds.
At least give me time to take a nap.
Jim Jordan, should keep pushing, and that he will pick up as the voting continues round after round. Let's get your reaction to that idea. Ken in Fort Smith, Arkansas, a Republican. What do you think? Should Jim Jordan keep pushing for more votes?
I think a certain number of rounds is reasonable, but I'm not sure if that's 5 or 15. You had a caller earlier that said Jordan should apologize, and then people could respect him enough to vote for him, and I think that's ludicrous. Jordan has his head so far up the radical Republican MAGA that he cannot be extracted. I actually liked Jordan.
He's so far up the MAGA ass.
Misbegotten committee, and he can't make a finding, nor is he smart enough to terminate the committee. How is he going to lead the House? I think the House leads like a constitutional amendment or a rules change, such that after a number of votes, each side picks 10 members that are removed from the representatives, and then they can go on. And those people can't be reelected, and you simply run with a smaller amount. Companies do that. I forget what the programs are called. They're not Six Sigma, but they eliminate the most radical, poorest performers, and then they go on. And I think maybe the House needs some such rule.
All right. Happening during the vote, this is an image captured by the Associated Press. Here is Representative Greg Steube, a Republican of Florida, who voted
Captain
for Jim
Steube
Jordan, holding a resolution on the House floor to remove Representative Patrick McHenry as temporary Speaker. It has several pages of signatures, he notes, removing Patrick McHenry as temporary Speaker.
Well, he threatened to quit yesterday.
Conservatives like Matt Gaetz and Bob Good praising the role that Patrick McHenry has been playing over the last 17 days, but they do not want to give him additional powers. Any resolution to do so, they would vote against it. Deneen in Golden Valley, Arizona, Republican.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I think that this whole thing has a good side and a bad side. The bad side is that Jordan did not get voted in. But the good side is that until he is, they can't spend any more money. And I'm really sick and tired of our open borders and all the money going out to Ukraine and other countries. So I think that it's a good win for Americans, because as long as they cannot spend more money, we're in a better place any day. Thank you.
He doesn't fucking know how anything works.
Golden Valley, Arizona. On a lighter note, here is an image that was put out by Lauren Boebert on X, a picture of her and Jim Jordan ahead of the vote. She's saying, "I'll keep voting for Jim Jordan until he runs out of yellow ties and blue shirts." She says it's going to be a while.
He's got a yellow tie and a blue shirt on.
In a similar fashion that Jim Jordan is fond of. Pamela in New Jersey, Democratic caller.
Hi. I am so happy you took my call. Thank you so much for listening. What I'd like to say is, I don't understand why Republicans think that Democrats in the House should run to salvage them. We have never been helped by the Republicans when we're short votes.
Give him a hand with his votes.
Secondly, I don't understand why so many Republicans believe that money is a problem. In the United States of America, we're the richest country in the world. Why is it that they're so concerned with how much money is spent when it comes to something that's helpful, and don't have a clue when it's not? They help the rich out. How about helping the middle class out?
All right, Pamela's thoughts.
That's communism.
We're going to end the conversation there for now. Thank you all for watching and having a conversation.
Thank you, C-SPAN.
We're right now.
So, the House currently behind closed doors having a conference session. They are apparently going to vote again to see if they can nominate somebody else. They're going to have a vote to rescind the nomination of Jim Jordan and possibly vote on another nominee for Speaker of the House. Totally cool that you get pegged for fun. We're glad, Jay. We encourage sexual anarchy around here.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Buddy, we don't even know what the fuck you're trying to say, but you know what? You seem like fun. What, you got something to say? You want to call in? Let me open up my phone lines. Would you like to give us a call? Tell us all about your pegging fantasies, Jay. Come the fuck on, my friend. There is the phone number, 917-830-4359. The stream would love to hear about your pegging fantasies. Give us a ring. Now, there are many porn stars that will tell you never use lube, only use spit. I would suggest having lube on hand. Do try to have a variety, because some people like the silicone-based lube. Some people are against it. Some people are allergic to it. So do have options when it comes to lube, and take care of your partner. Water-based lube is the best, according to Clinically. 917-830-4359. Let me put the phone number up again. We would love to hear about your pegging fantasies. I'm sure this did not go the way you expected it to go. I bet you came in here and you thought you were going to trigger the libs or some shit. Dude, please let us know all about, you seem like a pegging expert. I don't know much about it. If the next time I see you, if we don't get a speaker vote later on today, I will pop back on for a live stream if we have another speaker vote. If not, I will see you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Motherfucker, you asked me what's the number? How many times did I just say it? How many times did I put it in the chat? Are you fucking stupid? God damn! What's the number? Scroll the fuck back up, you dumb shit! God damn! We get some wild ones on Kick, don't we? Did the number not show up in the Kick chat? Then fair enough. That's my bad. That means like none of the YouTube. What was on the fucking screen? Thank you, BB Girl. 917-830-4359. 917-830-4359. Apparently, Restream just won't kick the shit back out to Kick. All right, then. I need a nap. Had to wake up too fucking early to do this shit. So if the House does not reconvene this afternoon, I will see you guys tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. The Friday Night Freak Show with special guest co-host Chainsaw. Go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do my normal sign off. So I use the one that I do when I do stand-up comedy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. However, that doesn't limit your options very much at all. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We will see you sometime later today on either the Troll Patrol or the